On the Coast Best Mix, 7AD, 7BU. Don McLean in there with American Pie, 8 minutes 32 seconds. And of course, no, I didn't go to the toilet and make a cup of coffee because live in the studio to talk a peek inside is Craig Heppel. Good morning to you, Craig.
Good morning, Andrew. And I can vouch that Andrew was here for the entire 8 minutes 32.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Now, today's topic is valuations, evaluations and appraisals, part one.
Exactly. You said it in one. And what is the difference between a valuation, an evaluation and an appraisal? You'd be surprised how many people mix these real estate functions up and aren't quite aware of their intended purpose. Let's deal with evaluations. Mm-hmm. This is just another term for an appraisal, and that's the most common term we hear in real estate. I've heard some people say to me, we had an evaluation on our home about 2 years ago. You had an appraisal. As I said, the most commonly used term across all sectors of real estate is appraisal. It's a major function of real estate agents. So when we get called in to look over someone's home and give them an idea of the current market value, we're carrying out an appraisal. Whilst this may be classed as an informal assessment of the market value of a person's home, whereas a valuation is more formal, and we're going to talk about that later, the agent must take the utmost care to be as accurate as possible. There is legislation to abide by when appraising a home, and miscalculations or willful misrepresentation can lead to an agent getting into hot water. So there, in some states, especially Victoria, the agent and the seller of a property have to provide what's called a statement of information, which is documented proof of how the market value was arrived at, which supports the price being advertised to the buying public. This is done mainly to combat underquoting. In other words, displaying a price that looks too good to be true to buyers, whilst current demand and buyer sentiment sees the property sell well in excess of the guide price. It's usually a thing during hot markets and booms. All that said, no matter what type of property market conditions prevail, an agent needs to be able to demonstrate knowledge of the local market conditions and including present nearby similar sales, that's comparables, and current listings, that's your competition. And to arrive at a guide price for the homeowners to help them determine whether the time is right for them to sell or stay where they are. Also, it explores who the likely buyers are. For example, are they first home buyers? Are they downsizers? Are they empty nesters? Are they investors? Which includes their current mood. And we talk about emotion all the time. Are current buyers fearful, greedy or unsure? Plus, what the average days on market are for a particular area. So advice on presentation to impress buyers and the costs associated with the sale are also important factors. This is what goes into an appraisal. So as a former detective, this comes very naturally to me, gathering evidence and compiling it into a brief to present to the homeowners to help them determine their best course of action. And I have to say, Andrew, I rarely get it wrong.
Right.
So here's a story to illustrate that.
Right.
About 8 months ago, we appraised a property in Ulverston, which required some significant cosmetic upgrades and to fetch, as I like to call it, top dollar. Now, to sell it as is, we appraised the property in the high 400,000s. Now, if these owners did some painting, tidying, renewed some floor coverings, which would have cost up to about $15,000 to $20,000, they could have expected to sell for around the $550,000 mark.
But Craig, it's a lot of maintenance on these old homes anyway.
Yes, you've got older homes, and sometimes to get the price you really want, you might need some upgrades. It depends on the upgrades, and those upgrades, the dollar spent, it's always good to find out what you're likely to get back.
Right.
But in this case, these people would have got their money back plus a bit more.
Right.
Yeah. So I could tell straight away that Mrs. Owner didn't like the sound of that, but that's okay. I'm happy to live with my honesty. Now, about 4 months later, the home came to the market with another agent and without any or most of the upgrades we'd suggested to be done. Price tag, $550,000.
Whoa.
The home sat and sat and sat. Then after about another 3 to 4 months, the home was in the hands of another agent. What price do you think, Andrew? What do you think it's on at now?
Let me guess, high 400,000s?
Bingo. Well done, mate.
Right.
It's on the market at from $4.99. 4 or more months down the gurgler for the seller with an aiding and abetting agent ruining a missed opportunity.
Now, I've got to ask you, Craig, jumping real estate agents, is that common?
Not really. When I was in Queensland, it was quite common, very cutthroat.
Yeah.
But here, it's not so much. I'm very wary of other agents calling across my signs, as they call it, or vice versa, me calling across other agent signs. If a vendor who's with another agent wants to talk to me towards the end of the agency agreement with the other agent, I'm quite happy to chat, but I don't chase them down.
Yeah, because I know in New South Wales many years ago, I don't know whether it's still in practice, they called it a multi-something where agents can jump in and, it depends where they go.
Well, multiple listings or an open listing is another situation, but I call it sign jumping in very hot areas can be common.
Right,
but I'm thankful here it's not that common.
Good. Yep. Okay.
So it all boils down to accepting and providing honest, well-researched appraisals, and they're always a win-win for homeowners and agents. So next week, we'll run with part 2, that's valuations. Who does them and what are they for? I think you'll be very interested in what I have to share.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the home of the week.
Oh, the home of the week. This one is in the sweet spot. Right price, right location. Number 2, Whitelaw Street, Ulverston. A 3-bed, 2-bath, double garage brick home on a fantastic and fenced 788 square metre block. It's a great mix of modern finishes and traditional features. You ready for the price, Andrew?
Tell me.
$539,000.
Wow.
Plus buyers from $539,000.
Yep.
It's great value. Open this Saturday, the 17th of February at 12 midday. It's bang on for value, so don't muck about.
I call it bang money. What do they call it?
Bang for your buck.
That's it, yes.
This is bang for your buck.
Fair
it's
enough.
a good home.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if people want to contact you, what do they do?
Look, just send me an email, craig@ulverstonrealestate.com, or give me a buzz, 0400 180 515. And if you've got any question about real estate, no matter what it is, happy to answer it personally. And if you like, we can send it out to the airwaves so other people can hear the answer to your question.
Sounds great, Craig.
Yeah.
You going to come in next week?
Mate, I'm loving it.
Fantastic.
Do I get a free cup of coffee next week?
Well, I've got half a cup of coffee sitting here if you want that.
Unless you've got a straw, no thanks.
No, you'd be right. Well, Craig, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Andrew.
We'll catch you next Thursday. That's Craig Heppel from the Ulverston Real Estate. We do a peek inside every Thursday around 11:20. Coming up on weekdays, we've got Rick Springfield, James Brown and the Cranberries. Done. Good band.